You ever walk in a room and feel the energy shift, like people just can't figure you out? Like you walked in calm, but suddenly folks get quiet, shift in their seats, eyes follow you, like you're some kind of mystery. Yeah, that's not just in your head. Chosen ones. When you walk in, the atmosphere changes. And not because you're loud, not because you demand attention, but because your presence disrupts the norm. You carry something, a spiritual authority, a divine frequency. That's why they look at you like you're Houdini, like you pulled off something impossible again, and it's got them shook. So let's talk. Let's unpack this. Let's talk about why your favor scares people, why your peace agitates demons, why they want to label you strange, difficult, delusional, but can't stop watching you. This is not ego. This is awareness. Because the truth is, God has been elevating you right under their noses, and you've been doing what they said you couldn't do, with grace, with silence, and with consistency. Let's go deep. Section 1. Why people get uncomfortable around you. See, most people operate in survival mode. They're focused on appearances, validation, material gains. They move based on fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But you walk different. You move with purpose. You speak with conviction. You rest even when there's chaos. You pray when others panic. That confuses people who don't know peace. You became successful without begging. You healed without announcing it. You overcame without seeking attention. That's Houdini-level spiritual movement. That's doing the impossible. Disappearing from what broke you and reappearing in purpose. And listen, people notice. They don't always say it, but they see it. And it scares them. Because your growth reveals their stagnancy. Your faith convicts their fear. You're a walking contradiction to what they thought was possible. Section 2. The impossible things you've done. Let's get real. You've survived things people would have folded under. You've walked away from people who thought you needed them. You've been rejected, overlooked, and underestimated, and still came out glowing. You've turned your pain into purpose, your scars into strength, your isolation into revelation. That's power. That's why people don't understand how you keep rising. Because they thought you were done. They counted you out. They whispered, they mocked, they plotted. But God had the final say, and He's been showing off through you ever since. Section 3. Your gift threatens their insecurity. Here's the real thing. You haven't even hit your peak yet, but your current level is already too much for some people to handle. Because when you speak, there's authority. When you move, things align. When you show up, the atmosphere adjusts. That's not pride, it's spiritual truth. They're not scared of you. They're scared of what you represent, God's undeniable favor. They can't understand how someone like you, who they thought was flawed, broken, or too different, is now a symbol of strength. But that's what God does. He uses the least expected to do the most impossible. Section 4. You're walking proof of God's hand. You're not magic. You're anointed. You're not lucky. You're aligned. You're walking proof that obedience opens doors no man can shut. You're evidence that the wilderness season wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every time they doubted you, God added another layer to your calling. Every time they mocked you, God marked you. You see, the chosen ones aren't picked because they're perfect. They're picked because they're willing to walk alone, willing to be misunderstood, willing to lose the world to gain their soul. That's you. Section 5. Why you must keep moving forward. Here's what I need you to remember. Don't stop. Don't shrink. Don't second-guess your power because of someone else's discomfort. You're not here to be palatable. You're here to be powerful. And people's fear is not your responsibility. You keep showing up. You keep trusting God. You keep doing the impossible, even when it feels invisible, because the tables are turning, the spotlight is shifting, and God is about to prove exactly why He chose you. You'll walk into rooms they tried to keep you out of. You'll receive blessings they said you didn't deserve. And the same people who mocked you will witness the miracle God made out of you. Closing, emotional and spiritually charged. You didn't imagine the warfare. You didn't imagine the isolation. You didn't imagine the burden. And now, you won't have to imagine the reward. Everything you've been through was real, and everything God promised, even more real. This next season is not about explaining yourself. It's about embodying the assignment. So walk boldly, chosen one. They're watching, but more importantly, God is moving. You see, chosen one, this journey you're on, it's not just about you, it's about legacy. It's about the ripple effect. You're not just breaking generational curses, you're building generational blessings. That's why the resistance has been so intense. Because you're interrupting cycles, you're challenging spiritual systems that have been in place for decades. The enemy's not fighting you because you're weak. He's fighting you because you're dangerous to darkness. You've been rising in silence, and that's why they don't see how strong you've become. That's why it feels like you're living in two worlds, one physical, one spiritual. But hear this, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just spiritually awake in a world that's spiritually asleep. You're not the black sheep. You're the bloodline breaker. You're not the misfit. You're the messenger. You're not too intense. You're tuned in. And the more you embrace who you are, the more opposition you may face. But that's not a curse. That's confirmation. Think about this. When Jesus walked the earth, people didn't just follow Him. They feared Him. They didn't understand how He spoke with such wisdom, how He healed without medicine, how He knew things that couldn't be known. Sound familiar? You carry that same spirit. So if they're looking at you sideways, let them. If they're gossiping, let them. If they're confused by your peace, your glow up, your breakthroughs, let them be. Because you weren't called to be explained. You were called to be experienced. Every time you choose love over bitterness, every time you forgive when they expected revenge, every time you rise instead of react, you're operating in divine frequency, and they feel it, even if they don't understand it. Your life is a spiritual event. You're not who you used to be, and your next level will prove that even louder. So walk boldly into this next chapter, because you're not the magician, God is. You're just the vessel He chose to display His glory. And the show's not over yet. Stay aligned, stay anchored, stay ready, because the ones who thought you were done are about to witness your rise. And it's going to be under, you've been quiet for too long. You've questioned if any of this meant anything, but deep inside, something's been waking up, something unstoppable. You didn't come this far to stay hidden. You didn't survive all that pain to be average. You've been walking through fire with grace, and now it's time to rise without apology. The people who doubted you, they're about to witness what divine favor looks like. The ones who left you, they'll realize you were the light they couldn't handle. God didn't forget you. He refined you. And now, Your presence is about to speak louder than your past ever could. So here's your moment. Take a deep breath. Feel that truth in your spirit. Say it out loud right now. I was chosen for this. I am ready for everything God has for me. If this hit your soul like it hit mine, type in the comments, "It's my time. I claim it." Don't scroll past. Like the video. If it spoke to you, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And if you haven't already, subscribe. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the reveal. God's got you. Now go show the world why He chose you. Stay grounded. Stay bold. You're not alone anymore.